Heya Cryptozens, tonight's show. Did Do Kwon steal $2.7 billion? Coin Center sues Treasury, and a warning from Yuga Labs. It's 10 p.m. Pacific. The date is June 12th, 2022. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. My name is Nicodemus, and I'll be your host. The cover model, mascot, and co-host for this podcast is Tex, and together we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. So take a minute, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast now, because we're here at 10 p.m. each and every night so that when you leave in the morning, you're taking with you the crypto news analysis that you need to start your day. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. Magic Internet Money. That's how they're alleging he did it. Magic Internet Money and a degen box. They're saying he was able to cash out $80 million a month from the Terra blockchain ecosystem. $80 million a month, and he used degen box and Magic Internet Money to do it. Now, Fat Man Terra, and I like that guy, he seems to be making it his express purpose in life to go after Do Kwon. For quite a while now, he's been posting expose after expose on Twitter, all aimed at Do Kwon and his bad actions. So he put out a tweet that said Do Kwon was using degen box to pull money from the Luna UST system and converted it to Tether. He had a 13-tweet thread going to his 71,000 followers. And, full disclosure, I am one of those followers. What he does is go through the process step by step, and it's pretty well laid out. He's saying that Kwon, who was a billionaire on paper, had a problem with liquidity, because his value was mostly locked up in Luna. So swapping Luna to Terra USD is not a big deal. It's actually made for that purpose. The problem is, when you cash out $2 billion of Terra USD, can you cash out that much without depegging it? No. You can't just dump $2 million in UST on the market without crashing it. So now here's the system. Because degen box is a borrowing protocol, it lets you loop your stablecoin buys. So you stake some collateral, and then you use that to buy UST, and then you put that UST into Anchor. Then you borrow against your Anchor UST to buy even more UST. You put that into Anchor. Do that on an infinite loop, right? Then what happened? Well, word got out. Terra influencers made this a known strategy for getting access to high yields. Now, this degen box spinning, it started depleting the yield reserve, and that reserve was not meant to be used in that way. It was there for an emergency, which meant Anchor wasn't long for this world as a working protocol on Terra. And Do Kwon didn't seem to care. He didn't care that Anchor was getting drained because they were providing liquidity for him to get out. People kept doing this little trick, and that kept UST nailed to its peg, at least for a while. And that near immovable peg, that seemingly endless value of a stablecoin, is what let him cash out billions of Terra UST for Magic Internet Money, allegedly. Part of the threat indicates that this artificially high liquidity would allow, quote, someone to cash out billions of UST for MIM at a 1-to-1 rate without disturbing the peg, which is ironic, isn't it? Because this means that Do Kwon, the guy who literally said, quote, centralized stablecoins will rug you eventually, well, it appears he cashed out. He cashed out into USDC and USDT, both centralized stablecoins that he claimed to have been warning us about. Hypocritical if true. It's going to hurt, but we need to do it anyway. Let's take a look at the markets. At the time of writing, the global crypto market cap is $1.11 trillion. It was $1.14 trillion just yesterday. It's down 4.86% in 24. The top 5 cryptos by market cap are Bitcoin down 3.73%, Ethereum down 3.36%, Tether, USDC, and Binance Coin down 2.8%. So usually people are afraid that the U.S. government is going to take them to court. On occasion, however, we do get witness protections that were built into the Constitution, protecting things like the right to sue your government for redress, correcting inaction, as is the case with Custodia Bank. They're suing because of a dramatic delay in the approval of their master account request. That's just not moving very fast in their process. In this case, however, Coin Center is suing the Treasury Department. That's right. They're taking the Treasury Department to federal district court. Specifically, they're suing because they want to challenge the Section 60501's reporting mandate. Now, Coin Center isn't an exchange. They're not a DeFi protocol. They're not a crypto custody company or anything like that. What they are is a non-profit blockchain advocacy group. And what they're doing is they're suing the U.S. Department of the Treasury for an alleged unconstitutional amendment in the infrastructure bill. Now, remember that bill? It was a big deal last year. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. So here's what they're talking about. There's a provision in the infrastructure bill that got passed last summer, the 60501 amendment. What that amendment does is requires anyone who receives more than 10K in crypto, they have to report that to the government. Not only the name of the person who sent them the funds, but their date of birth and social security number. And at the time, the crypto world was quite upset about this seemingly rushed legislation. I certainly wouldn't consider it well thought out, simply because of the absurd reporting requirement. That alone means that it wasn't well thought out. There's no way such a requirement came after careful consideration. And more importantly, talking to the people who are going to get hammered by this the most, the crypto community, because I'm not convinced that they talk to anyone. And I'm not alone on that one. Ben Weiss, he's the CEO of CoinFlip. Now, CoinFlip is a crypto ATM provider. And at the time, he said, quote, representatives from the industry did not have the opportunity to weigh in on or discuss the policy changes which will cause a major disruption to the cryptocurrency ecosystem. We believe there should be more dialogue between Congress and members of this rapidly growing industry to lead to a better and clearer policy that will benefit everyone. And the key to the problem comes from this question. What is a cryptocurrency broker? What does it mean? I don't think they got it right. Now, they're including people in this definition that are so far removed from that kind of work, it's mind-boggling how they even got there to begin with. I'm talking about people like software developers, stakers, miners, validators. These are people who are considered brokers under the law. Software developers. I mean, they really don't have much to do with people, at least not in how people transact on the blockchain. That's why I'm convinced that they didn't get any assistance from experts when crafting this legislation. And here's the issue. Congress needs to change how they think of brokers, because the U.S. government does not have the time, money, or manpower to look at each and every transaction going through the system, not even each and every transaction over 10,000. So what they do is they make other people gather information for them, either through requirement or through reward. The U.S. government employs intermediaries, and these intermediaries provide the U.S. government with the information that it needs to assess taxes. This is not unique to this market. Forcing citizens to give up financial information about themselves and others for tax purposes is nothing new. Now, in the financial industry, the people the government uses to gather this information, they're brokers. They are in a perfect position to gather it. Now, the question of whether or not they should be gathering that kind of information in this market sector or not is for another day. So they tried to take this model, though, and then slap it on the crypto industry and call it a day, which is foolish, to be honest. The government doesn't know who the right people to target for this kind of thing are. Centralized exchanges? Sure. They would have access to some of that information, and at least about the recipient of the funds, even if not the sender. Hosted wallets and custodial services, they might have access to some of that information as well. But we all know that's not the world we live in. There is no one perfect spot to be in the center of everything to get this information, which is the problem. because they don't know how to specify who should be reporting this information. So they're just using a blanket law to force everyone into the role of broker by using an absurdly broad definition of the term. These incredibly vague requirements are the kind of thing that will lead to forced surveillance on everyone. That's because there is a felony waiting for you. Yeah, if you fail to provide the government the information that it requires after a 10K transaction, yeah, that's a felony. The crypto advocacy group Proof of Stake Alliance called it out. They said that this could make, quote, receiving digital assets a felony if not reported correctly. Because reporting things correctly isn't exactly a given. The government looks at crypto 3 different things at once. They're calling it property for the purposes of taxable income. Then they treat it like securities for the broker reporting rules. And now they want to treat it like cash for the 60501 rules. It's a very confusing law due to go into effect in 2023. Which brings us to present. Coin Center has filed their suit claiming that it would, quote, uncover a detailed picture of a person's personal activities, including intimate and expressive activities far beyond the immediate scope of the mandate. The reports would give the government an unprecedented level of detail about the transactions within a realm where users have taken a series of steps to protect their transactional privacy. They said that their mission is to, quote, defend the rights of individuals to build and use free and open cryptocurrency networks, the right to write and publish code, to run and read it, the right to assemble peer-to-peer networks, and the right to do all of this privately. And Coin Center is bringing all of the arguments. They're saying that the 60501 provision isn't about collecting tax information about third parties involved. They said it's focusing information about the general public, tracking the people participating in cryptocurrency transactions. Another claim that they make is related to the freedom of association. So there's the unconstitutional kind of aspect that's front and center now. They do this by pointing out that the Supreme Court previously ruled the government cannot force organizations to maintain member rolls. The government can't force organizations to turn over a roster. And it sounds like Coin Center is looking for a little support from the crypto community here. The community and the industry both, really. They said, quote, we are considering adding additional co-plaintiffs to this suit. So if you might fit this description and are interested, please get in touch. The global NFT market cap is up over $12.22 billion. Sales volume is down 2.39% in 24 hours. According to CoinMarketCap, the top 5 NFT collections by sales volume are Bored Apes, followed by Other Deed, Moonbirds, Mutant Apes, and Goblin Town. Now keep in mind, some of these collections have very volatile prices, so do your own research. Yuga Labs and Bored Apes. How many scams? How many phishing attacks? I mean, Bored Apes are out front in the NFT world. They're one of the biggest brands in the space. So it's interesting to me and cool. It's cool because now they're in a position that they're helping the community out. So here's what happened. Gordon Goner, that's the pseudonym of the co-founder of Yuga Labs. He came out with a warning about a possible incoming attack. Now, this would be an attack from their social media accounts. The Yuga Labs social media accounts. And disturbingly, they say that they have credible information that there's a Twitter insider involved and that this insider is going to help bypass the security on these accounts. So you see the danger here, right? We tell people all day long, only trust the official accounts. You can trust them. They're verified. Well, that might not be true. In a tweet, Goner said, quote, we received credible information that there may soon be an attack on our social media accounts using an inside source at Twitter to bypass our security. There are no surprise mints, ever. That last line is important because that's what's gotten people before. Twitter has been involved too. Now, in that tweet thread, Goner wrote, quote, we've been in contact with Twitter, and they confirmed that they have an active monitor on the accounts and security has been escalated. We are feeling more secure, but please stay safe, everyone, and remember, there will be no surprise mints. So again, with the no surprise mint thing. So we can piece together a few things from what we know. Goner said social media accounts, but I'm pretty sure he's talking just about Twitter. And he's saying that someone's going to be hacking these accounts and put out some bad information, possibly a phishing scheme, probably promises of a surprise mint. Social media accounts are the devil. It seems, just days ago, a Discord hack happened. And they were able to get into the Yuga Labs, Bored Ape, and other side Discord groups. They scammed over 145 Ethereum just on that little caper alone. In this case, it was because Boris Wagner, he's the community and social manager at Yuga Labs. That's the account that they got into on the Discord server to launch their phishing attacks. I think we're looking at Web Type 3 solutions to solve these problems. Web 2 services like Twitter and Discord seem to be inadequate for the type of communication style used for a lot of these projects, cryptocurrency and NFT projects. Until we have systems in place with much greater security options than we have now, these kind of scams are just going to run rampant. And the false sense of security that a blue check gives just isn't going to cut it before too long. And that brings us to the end of another episode. Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed tonight's show, like, comment, and subscribe. Give us a glowing review, because that helps other people find their way to this podcast. Do you have questions or comments? Reach out and let us know. The email address is nick@cryptoovernighter.com. That's nick@cryptoovernighter.com. Or come find us on YouTube. Leave me a comment and maybe I'll read it in the next episode. We'll see you tomorrow night.